Now, I don't know if you guys are excited, but you should be. Because within the last, week and a half, we've gotten count them, two little animated gifts from AMC about Into the Badlands. So what that tells me is that we will likely see the show return very soon. Listen, guys, I'm going 2 weeks. I'm going the next 2 weeks, we will see the return of Into the Badlands. And it's about time because we've been waiting. So for those of you guys who are thinking, well, man, I'm not even, listen, I don't even care anymore. It's been so long. I don't care what happens. Yeah, you do. Because we've got some stuff coming, this I know, that's going to make your jaw hit the floor. Remember what Sherman said. He said he wishes that he could be watching the show with us, just to see our faces when we see some of the things coming. So I think that the show is going to be phenomenal, and I can't wait because it looks like what we've been waiting for is finally happening. We will get the return of Into the Badlands on AMC. So a real quick update, you guys, before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's topic. I do want to update you guys about the video that we did with Stephen Fung. I really wanted to get that to you guys today. I couldn't because we had to edit that video. I don't know if you guys know or not. He was actually in China when we shot that. I was here in Maryland, so we did have some technical difficulties over Skype. My plan is to get that out as soon as I can, but definitely by next Thursday, you guys will have that video. So I just want you guys to know that. Now, if you don't know who Stephen Fung is, he is the choreographer and the fight director for ITB. So a lot of the things that you've seen where you've been like, shoot, never seen anything like that. This is the guy responsible for making a lot of those things happen, and we have an exclusive interview with him. So make sure that you guys turn on your notification bell. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. So, got a question for you. Now, over on the Facebook group, Cool Guy James asked a really good question. I said, man, I got to ask you guys that and see what you think. So here's the question. Do you think that it's possible that MK can actually be the widow's son? Now, remember, you guys, that the widow did have a son by the name of Percival. She talked about that in one of the episodes. Could it be the case that MK is that son? Now, a lot of things come to mind when you hear something like that. Like, you probably have objections like, well, come on, man. First of all, we know, Al, right? We know what MK's mom looks like because we've seen his mom in the mirror zone or the mirror world or whatever you want to call it. And she does not look like the widow. That is true. But remember what the master said about the things you see in that zone. And she told him to be careful because you can't trust everything you see in there. So it could very well be the case that what we think she looks like is not actually who she is. I happen to think that the things that MK sees in the mirror zones are really all reflections of what's going on with him internally. Some of the struggles, some of the battles, some of the hardships that he has going on within his mind that are projecting themselves as images when he's in that zone. So I don't necessarily trust anything in that zone to actually be true. I think it's all a representation of his thoughts, his feelings. That's what I think about that. So that being said, it could definitely be the case that the widow could really still be his mom, and we can't cast judgment and say that she's not just from what we've seen in that zone because we don't really know, right, if that is a true reflection, and I don't think that it is. That's number one. Number two, how do you line that up, Al? How do you make that work? Because it doesn't appear that at any point MK lost his memory or anything like that, and maybe he did not. But if he was separated from her at a very young age, then it could be the case that he really doesn't have any recollection of who she is. Now, you might respond to that by saying, as some people did in the Facebook group, but come on, man. A mama knows her son. A mama knows her child. Let me submit this to you. Don't forget that there is a portion of things that she does not remember, and she doesn't even know that she doesn't remember it. Because you remember what the master said at the end of season 3, episode 8, something like it's time for you to remember. So there are some things that have happened that she does not remember. Just think about that. Think of what if MK was actually the widow's son? Man, that would be such a story twist. It would be really, really interesting to see how that plays out. And I will tell you that what we do know is that MK's story is going to get a lot more development within the second half of season 3. So some things about MK we will probably learn, but man, that would just be so crazy if that was his mom's. That would be crazy. So my thought on this is that it could totally be true, And it could be the case that she just does not remember it. And I think the master is the key to all of this. I'm going to veer off for a little bit because I want to share this with you too to see what you think. You know, everybody has a theory that the person who locked Sonny's gift is actually his sister. I actually think that the person who locked Sonny's gift probably was the master. Now, it makes sense, right? If it is the case that a lot of us have theorized in the community that the master is actually older than she appears to be, I think she is probably the one that locked Sonny's gift. And I think that there probably is a connection now between Sonny and the widow because, listen, go with me. You know we theorize. I'll bet you that we will find out that the widow was on that boat with Sonny. How much you bet? How much you bet the widow was on that boat with Sonny, and I think it was the master that locked her gift and Sonny's gift. Now, the only thing that I can't reconcile here is how Baji knew her when she had the gift. And apparently he trained her. And it could be the case that she just found her way to the monastery and Baji trained her. I don't know. I can't make all of that work. That's the only hiccup in my theory. So if you guys can cover my theory, if you agree with me, and you can also tell me how it could be the case that Baji worked with her and make it all make sense, that's great. Let's get into that in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you are new here, make sure that you comment and subscribe. This is the best community on YouTube. We get into ITB heavily every Thursday. We cover this show. So looking forward to having you as part of the community. If you are part of the community, I will see you in the comments very shortly. Make sure that you like and turn that notification bell on, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.